Hello, everybody. Welcome to Raising Vibrations and your assignment today. So, in today's video, I want to talk to you about Venus direct, and I'm going to be integrating Mars entering Capricorn. And what I'd like to address regarding these two planets and sort of the phases that they're in right now is the impact that they're having internally for us and how our internal landscape is changed over the last sort of 4 weeks that Venus has been in a retrograde form, how Mars is going to allow us to act on these changes so that we can actually see what Venus retrograde really meant for us, okay? But also the significance of this Venus retrograde. Like, this Venus retrograde has been deeply significant in the larger cycles that we as human beings have been moving through. Okay. We've also had a nodal shift take place, right? The South Node and the North Node have moved into different signs during this Venus retrograde. So, for me, there is a lot of significance around the meaning of Venus retrograde for us here in Capricorn. And that's what I want to kind of also bring into this conversation today. So, the place that I'm going to start off with this whole conversation and this message, at least today in this video, is if we kind of look at Pluto and Neptune first, okay, as like kind of baseline. For those of you that are familiar with astrology, Pluto through Capricorn has been with us since 2008, okay? And the tagline for Pluto through Capricorn has been the elimination of all of the structures that are senescent, okay? The elimination of all of the structures that are outdated, that have reached their peak experience, they've served their purpose, the structure, the form, the established order as itself, that has reached its pinnacle. And so Pluto's come along with its energetic nature, and it's revealed to us the vulnerabilities, okay, the weaknesses, the where there is corruption, as it were, where there is power displacement, all of that type of stuff Pluto's brought to the surface for us as a collective to process collectively and, of course, individually within ourselves, okay? So Pluto has given us the opportunity to really look at the order of things and recognize where things no longer work for us, okay? So that's kind of it's closing the door on our structural society and saying, here's where it doesn't work. And you can see that. In the world, you can see that, right? Then we have Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune has been, as an archetype, it's been revealing to us the closing nature of this cycle that Pluto has brought to us. So Pluto has brought to us the deep practical kind of emotional attachments and security that we have invested into structures. So let's take a simple example, right? You are a store owner, and during COVID times, the situation for the store owner, for you, all right, has brought you to a point where you need to close your store, right? People are not coming to the store. Online has provided you with people with what they need, and so therefore your customer base has dwindled to the point where you can no longer hold the payments, as it were, to keep the store alive. So you're forced with a choice, Pluto. You can either create an online store and you can host yourself there, or you can keep holding on to the past, as it were, and allowing that store to exist, but then you would essentially not being able to survive, and eventually you would need to close. Okay, so that's Pluto. Neptune, within the context of our societal structure and internally for us, has faded, okay, has revealed to us where the spirit has faded. So in the store, at one point there was vibrancy, okay, there was attention, there was meaning. People came to the store, they said, this is the place where I always come to buy my hats, or this is the place I always come to buy my shoes, yeah? And so people with the nature of the spirit, nature of the time, found meaning in that store, and they would go there. Neptune revealed to us where that spirit has faded, where the meaning has faded, where the essence has faded. And so now we live in a world where there is a husk, right? An empty shell of once a civilization that held certain ideals, certain perspectives, certain points of views, certain value structures, certain jobs, certain business structures, etc. All of these things have essentially, with Neptune, been faded, and Pluto has said there is no more life here. Okay, that's what we are. That is what essentially the last 15 years has reflected in terms of the human race, what has changed for us, and it will continue to keep on accelerating to the point where there will be nothing left. Okay, what does this have to do with Venus retrograde? Venus moving through Capricorn, okay, is showing us where the internal landscape, right? So your internal landscape, where that internal landscape still has fundamental attachments to that old structure, okay? And wherever you have choice, wherever you make a choice that leads you to reinforcing your attachment to the old structure, you will fear or experience fear. You'll experience the collapsing or the brittleness, right? The vulnerability of that structure where it cannot hold you anymore. And so Venus retrograde has been really bringing to the surface where these undercurrent attachments still exist within us. And that's an intense thing. Mainly because when we are emotionally invested into something, if we are emotionally connected and invested and are valuing said attachment to the structure, and something comes along and threatens it, everything within the fabric of our emotional, psychological, and intellectual foundation is going to shake. Uranus through Taurus at the moment has been bringing to the surface these unconscious attachments that we have to these structures that are essentially senescent or outdated. And Venus through Capricorn, Venus's retrograde through Capricorn, has showed us where those dependencies are. The new world, okay, the new world is one where you have to cross a threshold. Every single one of us that is on the planet right now has to cross a threshold, okay? And that threshold is the annihilation, a complete annihilation of your preconceived ideas of what you think your life should be according to society's norms, ideas, perspectives, and points of views, okay? And deeply entrenched in that is the old paradigm that you need to work, say, from Monday to Friday, sacrificing your time for another person's dreams, okay? Yet inside of you, there's this light that is wanting to come out that says, I want freedom from this to express my own individuality, okay? This is an emergent pattern that is here. And you don't need to go far on the internet to type in podcast XYZ, right? Type in podcast, favorite people that you like to listen to, right? And you will see that there is a self-actualization component in this model. What I'm trying to address here is that we are in a time where there is a massive scale of transformation and metamorphosis. And in order to get on board, you need to cross a threshold. And that will look like waking up to the realization that the structure that you are emotionally invested in is outside of yourself. And so the locus of control is external. And so anything that threatens that structure indirectly threatens you. and you are powerless in that sense. Two, that you're not doing the thing that you're actually wanting to do with your time. You're doing the thing that you needed to do according to the structure of society post or pre-Pluto through the 10th, Pluto through Capricorn, right? 2018. So in 2011, somebody would have said to you, hey, you should start your own YouTube channel, okay? And start doing podcasts, speak your truth. You have a message, share the things that you love, join a community that is resonant with you, be a part of that process, actualize through that. Right? Most people would have turned around and said to you, that is an insane thing. That's not good. It's a crazy idea. There's no opportunity for purpose and career, etc. in that. Now, today, the younger generation, and for most people that are sort of like 35 years and older, the younger generation, like, yeah, that's where I'm going, right? But like I said, for those that are like 35 years and older, for the majority of people who were integrated into a system, that's like, wow, I'd love to do that, right? Be honest with yourself. Like, there's a part of you that wants to do the thing that makes you joyful, excited, creative, and on top of your like game. And you want to wake up to that capacity. You want to wake up to actualizing that capacity. You want to wake up to, expressing yourself, like allowing your life to be a reflection of your expression. And there's a threshold that has to be crossed. And that threshold, again, like I said, is freeing yourself from the fear of the future, taking your awareness and beginning to pay attention to what is empowering to you. And then giving yourself 2 years for transformation, giving yourself a year for transformation, right? This is where we're at. And there's a threshold. And again, I keep repeating that threshold. And that threshold is switching from the I must sacrifice my time kind of ideas. I must be a good, I must do things in my life that make my parents proud, as an example. What I'm trying to point across here is, or what society expects of me, like, this is a good citizen. You need to follow the thing that is alive within you. And for half of us, we might even go like, I don't even know what that is. And that's exactly the point that you start. Every single day, you begin to give time and attention to the thing that you actually value in your life. And you start to begin to cross the threshold. Part of crossing that threshold is having to do trauma work. We've all got a biography, right? We all come from an experience where your boundaries weren't honored. You were criticized deeply, and so you have a deep inner critic. You have a fear of, you're shy. You have a fear of XYZ, right? All of these things you need to overcome. You actually have to overcome them. And the way that you overcome them is by giving yourself the attention that you need to address the things that need to transform within yourself. That's the attitude going forward in the world where creative purpose is available to us. But we fear that. We fear that. Nobody knows how who can guide us, right? Who can show us the way? Is there somebody there that can look after me if I fail? Right? We're still in that parent and that child mode of the parent needs to take charge for us. And then in crossing the threshold, when you've crossed the threshold, you're like, oh my God, sovereignty is the capacity to recognize that I take full responsibility for my life, and that if I wake up every day with the desire for change in myself and the desire for self-empowerment and the desire for healing my wounds, and then at the same time following the trajectory that makes me like feel like I'm on fire every day to wake up and do the thing I love, that's the place. There is that place for us. And this is a collective awakening right now. And crossing that threshold is a friggin' scary thing, because it means that you have to face the things in yourself that you didn't even know that were there. You have to heal the parts of you that have been wounded. And you have to overcome the fears that hold you back. So the Venus retrograde right now integrates into this collective change that we're going through, and it's facilitating an opportunity to look at your inner self and say, where do I feel like I'm dead? And where do I feel that there's a potential spark that can be lit up? Where am I not valuing myself? Where am I telling other people this is how I need to be valued? Mars entering Capricorn is suggesting to us and indicating to us that Mars will, in the context of actually what I'll do is let's just jump to a chart, right? So we are looking at the chart for the 26th, right? And this is 3 days before Venus is about to turn direct. And as you can see here, we've got quite a connection of planets all hanging out at this part of the chart, right? We've got the Sun and Saturn that's about to cross. We've got Mercury entering Capricorn. We've got Venus at 11 degrees in Capricorn over there. And like I said, Mars entering it. So these are the two planets that I've been talking about. And both of these archetypes, again, speak to the inner relationship to yourself and the way in which you express that relationship externally. So with Capricorn being the archetype of structure and the archetype of self-mastery, both of these planets speak to this wide range of how are you reordering your life to meet the direction that is true and authentic for you, okay? The Venus retrograde suggests that we are clearing out any values, any attachments, any psychological and emotional structures that we have internally, an internal relationship to the things that no longer work for us, like I said, okay? And so if we kind of look towards the next few days, if I go towards the 29th, when Venus actually turns direct, the thing that I want to address here is, look, the moon joins this whole entire party. And the moon is the part of us that highlights things, right? We get this kind of illumination. So the moon crossing Mars, then Venus, and then eventually we'll go over Mercury, Pluto, and then we'll hit the sun for a new moon. There's a whole entire illumination of these planets over here. It's very significant. And you have Capricorn and Aquarius. Aquarius, the freedom to break free. Capricorn, the breaking free of the definitions that no longer work for us. It's that simple. And as we go a little bit further, look where the sun's approaching, Saturn, right? We're actually going to have this new moon take place just before the sun hits Saturn, but it's right in the proximity of Saturn. So Saturn in Aquarius is that fundamental structure where we're trying to free ourselves and be able to actually go on a new path and have a reality, Saturn, that is following your own direction. Individuation, like the patterns are so clear there. And it's individuating you. And it's individuating from the old self. It's individuating from the old paradigm, right? You're stepping into the new. You're stepping into what is creatively alive for you. And that even means crossing a threshold and saying, I have no idea what that is yet, right? So this is a very significant period of time right now for us, where we get an opportunity to begin to look at what is holding us back, begin to say, I no longer want to do that anymore, and begin to charge fully ahead, focusing on your self-direction, freedom of expression, and new values that are ordered in alignment with the direction you actually want to take with your life. That's my 2 cents on the astrology here. So as you can see, the transits right now are deeply reflecting a metamorphosis of change. And we have an opportunity right now to tap into that, to look at the things that can empower us, to be inspired to follow the course that is deeply meaningful for us, right? This is this Venus retrograde. It's about to be reborn. And so here's an opportunity for us to look at that inner relationship and say, now is the time for change, right? I mean, that's that's what we both myself and Jen do in terms of our work, right? This is the time with the nodes moving into Taurus, okay? With the nodes moving into Taurus, you are ready to awaken the inner self. And that south node in Scorpio, it's completely saying to us, it's time to let go finally of the things that no longer serve you anymore, that no longer allow for you to be attached to the things that are disempowering, right? That's the purpose. So with the south node, with the north node in Taurus, how can you become self-sufficient? How can you look at the things in your life and say, I might not understand where these resources are. I might not know what is essential for me, but I can start today to begin exploring that, to begin reshaping the landscape, the internal landscape, so that we're not reaching out saying, that's the savior. I am my own savior in that sense. So this is where I'm going to end today on the call. I feel like this is a great opportunity to leave the message in a way that can ring in an echo in the vibrations of your energy field, to feel inspired, to take this Venus direct and say to yourself, now it's time to transform, right? Now it's time to take my life by the reins and pursue the thing that I deeply believe and know to be the thing I want, right? To cross that threshold. So if you want to cross the threshold, if you want to understand how to do this and you want support in the process as well, then what I want to encourage you to do is jump on a call with either me or Jen, okay? So it's a free 15-minute call. What we can do is on the call, let's have a conversation. Let's see if there is an opportunity for us to actually support you in being able to cross the threshold, because each of us has an opportunity to want to free ourselves from the burden and expectations of society's success and to actually awaken the thing that's within you. So I encourage you to do that. Jump on a call with us. There's a link beneath the video. And all you need to do is just schedule a time to talk to me or Jen, and you'll see there's a little form that you need to fill out that tells us a little bit about your current situation. And once you've done that, we'll hop on a call. We'll have a conversation and let's see if there's an opportunity for us to actually support you in this transformation. Okay. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks very much, guys, for listening. I really appreciate your time and attention always. Both Jen and I do that. And this is a time for transformation. This is it, right? Let's take this opportunity and let's breathe fire into the essence of your heart. You know what I mean? All right. Okay, peeps. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you've watched this video for the first time. Like it, tell YouTube that this is something that you really enjoyed. And until the next video, take care. Bye-bye.